students, welcome back to our science class. So for this lesson, we are now in lesson number 4. We're going to talk about substance separation. Again, substance separation. So for this lesson, we're going to learn some techniques on how to separate some substances. Alright, but before that, I want you to focus your mind as we review our last topic. Last time, we talked about the common substances that we use every day. So we have the food additives. So under that, we have the food coloring, food flavoring. So those are some example of food additives. Okay, we have the salt as the common preservatives of some foods. We talk also another substances. So it's called cleansing agents. So we have the soap, we have the shampoo, we have the detergent bar, we have the dishwashing soap. So those are example of a cleansing agents. And also we have the third common substances that we use every day. So we have also the eliminating insects and pests. So we have there like the farmer, they are using some chemicals for them to protect their plants, okay, from the pests. So for this lesson again, we will be talking on the substance separation. So we will be learning some techniques on how to separate one substance from another substance. Okay, we will define first what does it mean when we say substances. So, substances in our everyday life may consist of two or more substances. So, from this lesson, again, we're going to discuss some techniques on how to separate some substances from one to another. Okay? So, there are two main categories of mixtures. Okay, the first mixture that we have here is what we call the homogeneous. Again, homogeneous. When we say homogeneous mixture, it's a mixture in which the composition is uniform throughout the mixture. Like for example, the water plus the salt. Okay, the water plus the salt. We knew that the salt will be dissolved in the water, okay, in the solvent, which is the water. So the solution means it's homogeneous because the salt blends well in the water. Sometimes you cannot identify it unless you taste the water. So you can say that it's a homogeneous, meaning they blend very well. Okay, and now we will be learning several ways of substance separation. Again, we will be learning some several ways of substance separation. Okay, we have the first one, okay, which is the manual picking. Again, the manual picking. Okay. When you say manual picking is one way to separate solid substances that have obviously different appearance such as their sizes or their color. As what can you see here? We have the rice husk and the rice grains. Okay. If these two substances were mixed together, so you can easily segregate the other substance from the other. Okay, so this is very common ways on how to separate one substance from another. Okay, manual picking, you can just pick it by your bare hands. Okay, and then you can separate the rice husk into the grains. Okay, that is manual picking. Okay, we're going to separate the hash into the grains. And so this is the, what is this? This is the final output. Okay. And so we have also the second one, sieving. Sieving. Again, it's called sieving. When we say sieving, it is a process by which fine particles are separated from bigger particles by using a sieve. Again, by using a sieve. As you see, this is the sieve. Okay, you will just this is common when you are sieving the flour. Okay, you put the flour in the sieve and then you will just sieve it, and then the small particles will be separated from the big ones. So that is sieving. And now let's go to the third one, which is filtration. Filtration. One more time, filtration. Okay. Filtration means is a method to separate an insoluble solid from a liquid solvent. Okay. So again, this is solid and then the liquid. Okay, solid, and to separate the solid into the liquid solvent, which is the water. Okay, example. So we can use a filtered paper to filter small amounts of solution, or we can use cloth to filter the solution. Okay, as you move this filter paper or cloth, you can see the solid substance or particles remains in the cloth, and then the water just drop it in the container. Okay, that is filtration. Filtration, separating the insoluble solid from the liquid. Okay, and now let's go to number 4, which is the evaporation. Evaporation, one more time, evaporation. When we say evaporation, it's a method to separate a soluble materials from a solvent. Again, soluble materials from a solvent. So this is a salt and a water. Again, salt and a water. So this evaporation is very common in what we call salt farming. Okay, they will do like this when the water will evaporate, and so the this salt will start to crystallize and it can be harvested. So the salt will remain and then the water will evaporate. So you can just do it in a very warm place or in a very hot place for the um, salt farming, and this is very common in Indonesia. So we have sedimentation. Again, sedimentation. When we say sedimentation, it means is to separate the fine solid particles that are suspended in a liquid. Again, is to separate fine solid particles that are suspended in a liquid. Again, sedimentation. Sedimentation. Sedimentation is a very common. You can easily identify it because some of the particles will put layers. Okay, they will form a layers. So that is what we call sedimentation. Okay, they have the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 or more. So that is what we call sediment. Okay, we have alum. We have alum. When we say alum, it's a solid crystal. Okay, it's color white and it draws suspended waters to aggregate, so forming large clumps that finally settle at the bottom of the container. When you put this one in the water, so some of the other particles will form a clump. Okay, will form a small particles and they will go in the bottom of the container. And of course, the water will be clearer. Okay, will be brighter. So that's the purpose of an alum. Again, when you put an alum in the water, some of the dirt will form a clumps, will form maybe a small particles, and they will settle down in the container of the water, and then the water will be more clearer. Next is we have the separating funnel. Again, separating funnel. One more time, separating funnel. Okay, separating funnel. Okay, we can use it when we are going to separate the two liquids to each other. Like for example, the water and the oil. They will not mix because they are called heterogeneous mixture. So, by putting it in a separating funnel, so the water will settle down in the bottom and then the water will go up. So that's the time we're going to tap it so that the water will be dropped here in the beaker, the and then you can separate the oil from the water. Again, we can use separating funnel in separating two liquids. Okay, example are the oil and the water. Okay, and we have number 7. We have the sublimation. Sublimation. Okay, again, we can separate two things by sublimation. Okay, sublimation is used if we have a mixture that contains a substance that will sublimate when heated. Okay, again, sublimate meaning, what do you mean by sublimate again, class? Okay, it's from solid to gas. Okay, very good. From solid to gas. So, normally when we heat a solid, so it will be melt and becomes liquid, right? But however, some solid do not change to a liquid. Instead, they change directly to form the solid state to gaseous state. So that is what we call again sublimation. Okay, from solid to gas. Okay, and so let's wrap up everything. So we have different ways in separation. Mixture separation. We have the first one that we call the manual picking. You just this is separating one solid to one solid. Manual picking. Solid to solid. And we have also number 2 by sieving. Again, sieving. It's also solid to solid. Okay, but to separate the clumps into the fine one. Okay, we use the sieve. And we have also the filtration. Okay, filtration is the insoluble solid, and then from the solvent, separation of solid into liquid. So we can use the filtration. Okay, Okay, filtration paper, or we can use also the cloth. Okay, we have the number 4. Okay, to separate the soluble materials from a solvent. Okay, separating the insoluble, separate the soluble materials into a solvent. Okay, like for this example, the salt farming, we can use evaporation. We have also sedimentation. Okay, sedimentation, which is the water is left stand and the solid particles will settle down slowly in the bottom to form a layer. And we have number 6, separating funnel. When we say separating funnel, so separating one liquid to another liquid that do not mix. And for number 7, we have sublimation. When we say sublimation, it's a mixtures or that contains substance that will sublimate when heated. So we can just separate the solid, okay, when we sublimate it. Okay, sublimation. And for your worksheet, I want you to prepare your notebook and your pen, and we will answer together your worksheet. Have this one. So this would be your worksheet for today. And so this is our mixture. We have the pencil debris from the pencil when you're going to sharpen your pencil. So this would be the pencil debris. We have also the saline solution, the water plus the salt. We have the sand, small, this one, and we have the gravel, this one. So now your answer will be, you can choose your answer in here in this box. We have filtration, we have sieving, we have picking out, and we have evaporation. Okay, all right. So, from this first part, when we separate the pencil debris from saline solution, sand, and gravel, so what do you think is the most effective way of, techniques on how to separate the solution? Okay, when we separate the pencil debris from saline solution, from sand and gravel, so what is the perfect technique you can use? Okay, perfect. And so for number 2, we have saline solution. We have saline solution, sand, and gravel. So if we separate the sand, gravel from saline solution, so what is the best technique that we can use, okay, in separate this mixture? You can choose your answer in here. And for number 3, what is the perfect technique solution when we separate the sand from gravel? And then for the number 4, when we separate the water into salt. So what is the perfect techniques on how to separate this mixture? So again, this number 4 is very common in salt farming. So what is the answer? And for the part 2 of your worksheet, okay, you have the answer here also. Okay, you have to choose the correct answer. We have separating funnel, we have picking out, we have sieving, we have sedimentation, we have filtration, and we have evaporation. For number 5, how will you able to separate the spaghetti noodles into the water? So, what is the best technique that you can use? For number 6, we have the mixed vegetables. How will you able to separate this mixed vegetables? Okay, what kind of techniques you're going to apply? And for number 7, we have the water and we have the oil. Water and the oil. So how will you separate the oil from the water? For number 8, you can use a filtration paper for you to separate the clumps into the water. So for you to get the coffee, the extract of the coffee. So what separation technique you're going to use in number 8? And for number 9, how about the sand and the water? How will you able to separate these two? And for number 10, we have the water and the salt. Again, the water and the salt. And so, if you have any questions, so feel free to ask me, okay? So, that's the end of our class for today, and I see you next time. See you in our next video. Bye-bye.